Hello everyone. Today what we're going to do is we are going to learn how to recreate an object using what's called the pen tool. The pen tool is located right down here. It's usually above, right above the shape. We have two options for the pen tool that you're going to need to know. Those options, first of all, as I said, with the pen tool, you're going to have either the pen tool or the nod tool, or the node tool. People call it either or. But basically, these two tools right here are going to be the only tools that we're really going to use for this project. If you have some lettering in your project, you're going to have to use this. You can use the shape tool. The shape tool, we have a variety of options that we can use, which will convert our objects into curves, which will allow us to then use the pen tool. As you can see right here, I have a Game Boy in front of me, and actually this is my almost finished product. Hopefully it looks pretty realistic to you, but I'm going to select all my layers that I have. Notice that I have them in a bunch of different groups. As I built them, I put them in groups, so this way I wouldn't lose their order. And then this way I had a nice clean working space. I'm going to uncheck this, and you're going to notice there's the original. So here's my final, or almost final I should say, and here is my original. A couple places I still need to work on, which is up here on the top left where it says on off, the volume switch, this connection right here, and also right down here where I forget what it actually says down here. It's for headphones actually. So the headphone jack, the volume, the connector, that's where we used to be able to connect two Game Boys together, and then as I said, the on-off switch. If I switch back to this, you can see how I started to build it. You can see that. It's not perfect, but it sure looks realistic when you're zoomed out. Let me show you basically how I did this. So let's focus down here on the bottom first, where this little stereo area is. This is where the speaker basically was on the Game Boy. Basically, I created just little shapes. I created one actually, and then I just duplicated it for how many I needed. Then again, I created that little black spot, and it was the same on each of them, so I basically just duplicated that as well. The hardest part about this project is just getting the curves right. You can see my start, stop, and select buttons are a little off, but just because this wasn't like something I was going to be paid for or anything like that, I really didn't mind it so much, so I just kind of left it. But you can see that I also used a few effects. So let's take a look at this. I used a 3D effect. You can see how I used just a basic circle. Then as I click this, the 3D effect made that look like a button for me. For my directional arrows, you can see that with the directional arrows, I actually created a lot of these shapes and used the effects. In class, I'm going to show you exactly how to build a shape, but it's pretty easy. You click on the pen. So say I wanted to create the little volume thing on the side over here that I got going on. Basically, I can find it again. Just sit there and trace, and as I trace, make sure that sorry about that. Make sure that I trace it, and as I trace it, it's going to continue to build it, and then I can add three-dimensional effects later on. Changing the color also later on. I'm just going to play with this until it looks similar to what it is, and I can always fix it later. These little things right here are very light. I still want to add them because there's little details. This is what's going to make the big difference between this being real and this looking fake. So the other thing you need to know is how to make an actual edge curved. The way we do that is we switch to the node tool, and then as I get close to an edge, I'm sorry, my pen tool wasn't finished. Forgot to go all the way back up to the top. All right, now I'll switch back. as you can see with the node tool, I use the P button to switch back and forth between the two. You can see the cursor basically either becomes a pen or at the node. As I get close with the node to a line, I can grab that line. Now I can make it curved if I needed to. I'm going to leave this obviously straight. The other way to do that is to see how I'm on the pen. If I hold down the command tool, it'll switch to the node temporarily for me, which will allow me to move that. As I said, we'll go over more about this in class, but that's pretty much the main aspect of this. You're going to want to find an object that you want to copy. From that object, you are literally going to trace. You're going to copy the colors. We can use the selection tool. So if I really wanted to make sure I had the right color, I would deselect. While I had this selected, I would uncheck it. And then I would use my eyedropper, wherever this went to. I would use my eyedropper, find the color that I wanted, let go, and then click the eyedropper color that's right here, and it actually switches it to that darker color. You can see how I switched from a lighter gray to a darker gray. As I said, we're going to go over a lot of this in class. If you have any questions, please let me know. Some of the stuff that I'm reviewing in class, we will have a quiz on, so please make sure that you are paying attention. Thank you very much. Let me know if you need any help.